In this lesson, I want to talk about your Amazon Seller Central account health. Now, Amazon wants stand-up sellers or good sellers selling on their platform so that their customers have a good experience. And in order to make sure that this happens, there's a number of different things that they're kind of grading you on to determine, how healthy your account is or like how good of a seller they think you are. In the last lesson, I talked about your customer support rating, but there's a number of other scores that Amazon's also looking at that you need to be aware of to make sure that you don't have too many of these, infringements and that your account remains in good standing. So let's hop into my Amazon Seller Central account. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to hop in here to the Performance tab and click on Account Health. Now, just a couple years ago, there wasn't much in here, but over the last few months and years, Amazon's been adding a lot more to determine the overall health of your account. This is your customer service performance, which we spoke about, but there's also different compliance, policy compliance stuff. There's shipping performance if you're doing your own fulfillment. And then up here, it's a little bit harder to see, but you can actually go into these different areas. And one that I like is the voice of a customer. And this essentially tells you how healthy these different listings are. So I actually have one that's very poor, and this one's very poor because 13% of the orders result in a return or a negative report from the customer. So my other ones, are pretty healthy, 2.7%, 1.4%, but this particular item has some issues. And what I can do is I can go into there, I can look at the details, and it'll show me what's wrong. So the top reported customer items are it's defective, inaccurate website description, or missing parts. And at the bottom here, this is beneficial because it gives you feedback that the customer gave when they were placing the return. This isn't necessarily what they were showing in their review, but this is what they submitted to Amazon while they were doing a return. So through that feedback, you can help improve your product, and you can also make sure that there's not like an ongoing issue from that, okay? So it's very good to go in there and check out the voice of the customer tab over time. So let's go ahead and look at a few of these other tabs in here. Eligibilities, this talks about if you're eligible for different programs. Similar to voice of a customer, it'll show you orders that were defective. This is an area that shows all the different infringements that are primarily related to policies like IP policies or safety policies. Thankfully, I have 0 on all of these, but you can look through and details around that will be listed there if you have any violations. And yeah, so I like to, go in here. I try to remember to go in here like once a week, take a look at it and see how my overall account health is performing on this tab. Now, there are other items that Amazon keeps track of, and an important one is your inventory performance index. So to find it, go to inventory and click on inventory planning. And at the top of this dashboard, I can see up here my inventory performance index, or IPI, and it shows you right here. Right now I'm still in the green with 456, but if you get into the red zone and you stay in the red zone, what happens is Amazon limits the amount of inventory that you can send in. And the thing that they are grading you on for your inventory performance are these factors. So the first one is if you have excess inventory. So if you're sending in too much inventory and making Amazon store it, how quickly you're selling through that inventory, how much inventory is stranded or needs to be disposed of or removed, and if you're in stock for all your different items. So when you combine all of these different scores, you get your inventory performance index, and you just want to make sure that stays in the green, because if it gets in the red, like I said, they limit the amount of inventory that you can send in. Another thing that Amazon keeps track of is the feedback for your seller account. So a buyer is actually able to leave a product review, but they're also able to leave a review on the seller themselves, and that's called seller feedback. To read the feedback that you're receiving from these buyers, you're going to go into Seller Central's Feedback Manager. And through here, you can see the different comments and ratings that people are leaving you. Now, the unfortunate thing is a lot of people think that the seller feedback are actually the reviews. So for example, perfect, soft, and cute. They're not talking about me as the seller, at least I don't think. They're talking about the product and they're kind of leaving that there. So like as described, they're giving a lot of feedback on the product, which is unfortunate. However, there's not too much that you can do about it. This is just feedback that they think they're leaving for the product and they're really leaving for the seller. And then some of it really is seller feedback. This started on the Amazon platform back before they had fulfillment by Amazon. It was much more important to ship your product quickly and ship it in good condition. And that's when this started. Now with FBA, seller feedback rating isn't quite as important, but it still is something that Amazon looks at. So these are the different items that I'm looking at that grade my overall kind of account health or make sure that my account stays in good standing with Amazon. If you don't remember anything else, I would encourage you to make sure that there are not any IP or authenticity complaints because Amazon takes those very seriously. And then I would also make sure that that NCX percentage or like the health of those listings doesn't get very bad because otherwise Amazon will suppress those listings and make you send them kind of like a report of what you plan on doing in order to get those back. So that's about all there is to it. If this was overwhelming, don't worry. Amazon will notify you anytime there's these issues going on inside of your account. But just in case you don't see them, I think it's also a good thing to go into Seller Central and check out these different areas for yourself. Thanks.